interrupted.
Yeah, so I just wanted to welcome everyone and say we are doing these lives really for educational purposes. We want to talk about barndominiums, and we want to hear any questions that you have. People ask us questions all the time through Facebook posts, and so this is really just a place for us to answer some of those. You guys have a face now. It's behind the Facebook page.
Yeah.
So, this is really a place for you to ask those, and we'll probably answer those either throughout or at the end of the video.
Yeah.
And
just I'll always be truthful with you. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know. So I have a pretty good understanding of this. I was a commercial and residential contractor for over 30 years. Had a lot of success, had a lot of failures, to be honest with you. I'm a firm believer, if you're gonna go big, go big. If you're gonna fail, fail big. So I never did anything small. So I had a lot of great success and a lot of great failures, but you learn from and you move on. And the thing is, you never want to let your failures trap you. And so many folks are so afraid of failing they never try anything, and that's a really sad existence. And just failure. I was watching a TV show a while back on the Magnolia Network, and they have a program called Bespoke Kitchens, and it is the most incredible program. It's a couple in England that hand make this cabinetry in these kitchens for the castles and all sort of crazy stuff. But he said something that's really blessed me. He said, failure is not final. He said, you won't die from it, and it's okay, So anyway, we'll always be truthful and honest with you. If we don't know, we'll tell you we don't know. And some it's my opinion, some it's fact. And I'll let you know that as well too. So what did you want to zero in on today?
So we're really going to zero in on, what are the trends? Why are barndominiums just trending right now? And I did even some brief research, and I can tell you that probably in the mid-2000s, and maybe you can confirm this too, but barndominiums have really been trending. And when I think of barndominium, I just can't help myself. I go to Fixer Upper because I was totally a fan, and I loved watching their shows. I love seeing a project from start to finish.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job, and they're wonderful people to listen to. So I'm going to throw some things out there first, and then I'm going to have you answer this question.
Sure, I'll do my best.
So just from brief research, I can post some links in there. You can read about it. But why are they trending right now? Well, they're really durable barndominiums.
Sure.
They're lower maintenance, taking care of the outside. They have a really good rustic look, but you can also make it modern looking, which personally I like modern looking better than a rustic look. Those are the two main things that I saw. But what do you want to add into that?
That's a good point. I started in this Barndo journey going on 4 years now. Gosh, time flies. And I got in it really kind of by accident. And but anyway, I won't go through my whole story. But as time went on, I kind of started noticing a trend or noticing a pattern. And so, exactly what you said. Obviously, as far as wood versus steel, there's no comparison there. Steel building is going to be vastly stronger than a wood structure. If you live in a high wind area, coastal states, Oklahoma and Texas, I joke with my clients here in Oklahoma, the weather's always trying to kill us. So, people, as far as the trend, I'll kind of bigger picture, it seems to me, especially COVID, that people are wanting to get out of the cities. And so they think, okay, we want land. We don't want to be right on top of our neighbor, and I don't blame you. And so that seems to be something that's really pushing the trend the last couple of years. When COVID happened, everything locked down, as I'm sure most people did. They're sitting at home, reevaluating their life, their lifestyle, how they're investing their money, how they're spending their money. And I think a lot of people thinking, hey, we should get some land and sell this house. Thus started the whole firestorm where the real estate market went berserk in Oklahoma, and I'm sure in other parts of the country too. I don't know about you guys where you live, but there is no inventory for housing in certain price ranges, even here. In Texas, it's even worse. My brother lives north of Dallas, and you do searches for homes and Google, it's just the stuff you do find is priced up so high. And I think it is coming down a little bit right now. I understand that permits have slowed, new building permits, which means the housing market is slowing a little bit. But yeah, I think the biggest trend is people want to get out of the city and find land. Now, beyond that, why kind of goes back to an early, why a metal building? Well, you get a lot of space for your money, not necessarily cheap, but nothing does a large space like a steel building, because you wall to wall, don't have to worry about supporting the roof. It's a nice big structure, and you can either build the whole thing out with living space or just part of it. So that appeals to a lot of people.
Yeah, and if you already have a big chunk of land,
right? Exactly.
Mine as well. It's a functional way
most,
to use
most
that
of our
space.
clients, 99% of our clients, this is their forever home. They're not going to build another one, and so they want very specific things, and it's as you live life, and maybe you lived in 2 or 3 homes in your lifetime, or your marriage, or in your family, whatever. Your kids may still be in the house. They may be kind of on their way out. You may be empty nesters. So you know how it is. You think, man, I would do something different about this house, and I would do this different. I'd like to lay the kitchen out different. And so that's pretty much everybody that comes to us, is they have very specific wants. And but anyway, yeah. So I think a big trend is people want to move out and get on land.
Let's talk about stock plans.
Okay.
And we offer stock plans. We're actually doing a special deal right now this month.
A deal.
Yeah, it's a steal. 30% off. And
So what's the price for 30% off?
30% off. I believe it's $12.60.
$12.60.
The stock
Okay.
plan price right now.
Yeah.
So, well, if you saw our newest Facebook post, that was
The Woody.
The Woody. That was one of the stock plans.
That happens to be the name of my dog, by the way, is Woody.
Yeah. And so why might you purchase a stock plan as opposed to your own custom
That's a
plans?
good point. And really stock plans in general, there are bazillions of websites and resources out there. We don't have a huge, catalog of stock plans. We have some, and we continue to add to them. We literally have hundreds of plans in our files. And so what I do is my designers are working on plans. If they see something that looks interesting or that people might want to, because some of my greatest designs did not come out of my head. They came out of my client's head. And I thought, wow, that's cool. I never thought of that. And so we just put on paper what our clients came up with, and it turned out to be amazing. I'll tell you an early trend of this, a little bit of a bunny trail here, was early on, I had a client, no kids, her and her husband. Well, she said, I want my laundry room connected to my master closet with a door. I thought, that's genius. Why didn't I think of that years ago?
Yeah.
But she said, yeah, I don't want to have to carry my laundry around the corner. It just makes so much sense. So we designed the master suite, the master closet, which was pretty big, and it was connected to the laundry room with a door. So you can just come and go straight to the laundry room. I had a client one time, speaking of laundry, they had 6 boys, and they were all kind of younger. I'm going to talk teenager down. And they had their master suite on the other side of the house, and then they had a laundry room on the boys' side of the kind of wing of the house. And she put a stackable washer and dryer in her master closet, which, oh, that was pretty cool. I said, well, why is that? She said, well, I don't want to do my laundry with them stinky boys. So her 6 boys had their own laundry room.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get some pretty cool ideas from our clients. Now, as far as stock plan versus custom plans, well, obviously custom is custom. You're going to get exactly what you want, you know. And once again, that's 98% of the people who come to us. But we do sell some stock plans from time to time. They can be a good deal. If you find one that you really like, it's a better investment because it'll save you quite a bit of money to buy a stock plan. We include 3 hours of what we call revisions. So when you purchase that stock plan, you're getting about 3 hours of drawing time. So if you want to make minor changes to the plan,
Yeah.
that's the best way to do it, and it doesn't cost you any extra. So stock plans are good. Now let's say you go to other websites that have so-called barndominium plans. What you have to be careful about is just because they say barndominium plans doesn't mean you can take those plans and build a barndominium from them, because there are many types of buildings. There's about 3 or 4 main types of buildings. And so it totally depends on the type of steel building or the type of wood post frame building you're doing. You just have to remember, when you're dealing with metal buildings, you're dealing with a box, okay? And that's why you can't do a lot of in and out of the walls, otherwise it gets very expensive, and you might as well stick frame the house, okay? Might as well go with a traditional house. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, a lot of dormers and stuff are not always a good option. But anyway, staying on task here. Your stock plans can be a great idea as long as the plans are actually designed for a metal building. And then I think one of the advantages for us as a team, myself, is when I look at somebody's plans and somebody's design and kind of their vision, I look at it from a builder's perspective, because I was a designer for many, many years. I'm not an architect, by the way. I am self-taught, okay? I barely got out of high school. I mean, they kicked me out the door. We don't want you anymore. Get out of here. And I joined the Navy for 4 years. Best thing that happened to me after that is I met my beautiful wife, Sandy, whom I am going to be 33 years married to shortly. And then, but yeah, so just be sure that when you're looking at these different plans, you know, on our website, anybody's website, that it will convert to the type structure that you want to end up with. Now, we have probably 50% of our clients don't know what kind of building they're going to land on. So some of them, you know, may consider a bolt-up steel building, and this is probably something we'll talk about sometime, what are the differences and pros and cons. Some may want to do a bolt-up, some do a weld-up, some do a pole barn or a post frame structure. Yeah, so there are pros and cons to each different type, okay? But, you know, one thing is, when we talked about trends and why I build a steel building, if you're in the coastal areas, you know, it's great because you can engineer these buildings for very high wind loads. And so they can be engineered to, you know, 120, 130 mile an hour wind loads. And we had a guy, we provide worldwide steel buildings out of Kansas City, Missouri, and there was a client of Worldwide's that was in Florida in the hurricane they went through a few months ago, and he emailed in and said his building, there were 130 or 140 mile an hour plus winds, sustained winds for over 2 hours, and he said there wasn't a bit of damage on this building whatsoever. And so the worldwide steel buildings are incredibly strong. But anyway, stock plans, great idea. If you want to save some money, if you can find a stock plan on our website that is very close to what you like, it can be expanded, stretched out, shrunk a little bit. I mean, you could do minor revisions. What I would say is if you find something and it's only remotely close, I probably wouldn't do that. I'd probably go ahead and just pay to get the custom plans done, because you're going to end up spending as much to make those plans work as you would just buying custom plans. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you say that it saves a little bit of time?
Oh yeah.
Too. There's already the design of the building. And
right. It saves a ton of time, because what you'll get is you'll get a complete set of plans with the construction drawings.
If you're looking to build right away.
Yeah. If you're in more of a hurry, that's the way to go, because plans are done. And so if you may not have anything. You may say, wow, we like them just as they are. Great. And so right now our sale just runs through December. And then we're probably going to triple the price after that. No, not really. I'm kidding. But our sale only runs to the end of December. And so anyway, enough about us. So more about you. Is anybody got any
we
questions?
have one question right here.
Okay.
Scott is asking, do the plans cover the HVAC too?
We do not provide HVAC plans, my friend, and let me tell you why. Most HVAC contractors, everyone you talk to is going to do the job differently. Now, what we do include is placement of equipment. So we usually have mechanical closets called out, or if the furnace is going to go in the attic. So there's just so many different options when it comes to that. Now, what we do when we do the plans, when we're in the construction phase, and let's say the biggest thing is if there's a second floor or a basement. So if there's a wood floor, let's say, we get a lot of clients up northern part of the country, Illinois, Michigan, do quite a bit of stuff in Michigan, upstate New York. So they do a lot of basements up there. We don't, in Texas and Oklahoma, we don't do very many basements. Like Oklahoma especially, I think there's 2.6 people that will install a basement in Oklahoma. One is our water table is extremely high. So you dig 2 feet and you hit water, so basements are expensive to install. They can be up to a third the cost of the home. So, so the floor system, running your HVAC through the floor system can be a little tricky. So we always try to take that into account on the structural side. So like if we have a floor system for a second floor or a basement, we determine, okay, what's the best path to frame everything so that you can get your main plenums in. I hope that makes sense. But in short, no, we do call out equipment placement and we do think that through, but we don't usually, for instance, an HVAC plan would typically have the size of the return air duct, the size of the supplies, all that. We don't size any of that because we're not mechanical contractors, and we would probably have it wrong if we did. So anyway, yeah. But it does include a basic, we don't necessarily do a plumbing plan, but we have on a non-engineered floor plan, we usually call out key items like shower leave-outs. Real common thing now is to leave your, most people don't want a curb anymore, so they don't have to step over a curb to get into the shower. Okay. Well, the best way to do that is when you're pouring the foundation, you leave the floor out right there, and then let your tile guy build your floor in. So we include that. We include the electrical plan, that's included. And then of course we design in 3D, so everything we do is 3-dimensional, which is incredibly helpful to visualize the inside of a space. Yeah. Our particular piece of software doesn't do colors very well, but it's very realistic in its perspective. So if I'm standing in the living room looking at the kitchen, or standing in the kitchen looking at the living room, the camera which is what you're in the little model in the computer with, is set at 5 feet off at eye level. So when you see that, it's very accurate. This is what this room's going to feel like. So that's really handy.
Yeah,
so,
that's really helpful.
Yep.
All right, so another question is right here. What about insulation? Do you recommend any, I'm not sure what that says, versus spray foam?
Oh, batt versus spray foam?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question. You know, years ago, I was a commercial contractor. Before spray foam was a thing, I mean, there were people spray foam, but there wasn't a lot of people doing it. And it was kind of expensive. We used to, like for instance, if we're going to build a metal building, we're going to put some offices in it, okay? Well, to start with, any metal building needs to be insulated unless it's a farm building and there's going to be no heating, cooling whatsoever, okay? And then the reason is if the temperature is exactly the same on the inside as it is on the outside, you don't have issues with condensation. But the minute that temperature changes just fractionally, guess what? It's raining inside your building from condensation. So you can do batt. If you want to go conventional insulation, you can do 3 to 6 inches of roll batt insulation over the whole envelope. And then in your living area, you just double insulate. So you can, I recommend a blow-in. You can put a net, they put a netting on the studs, and then they blow loose insulation in there. Or they have like a fibrous, a recycled paper insulation that they mix a sticky acrylic or something with. They blow it into the studs, fill it up, and then shave it off. That works well too. That's pretty efficient. So you basically get like double. I don't know that that's much cheaper than spray foaming though. By the time you buy the roll batt insulation from the steel building company and have the steel guy put that on, and then you have to pay another insulation company to come in and then insulate the house portion. I think it's easier just to spray foam. What we do here in Oklahoma, it gets incredibly hot, but it also gets incredibly cold in the winter. So we have these crazy temperature swings. There's a couple of options. You can either spray 1 inch of closed cell foam over the whole thing, the entire envelope of the structure, and then on your living area, and then you don't need to put anything else on your garage side. And then on your living side, shoot 4 to 6 inches of open cell over the top of that. And it's like living in a Yeti cooler, my friend. Okay. Now, I'm not the foremost authority on this, so just take this. This is just my opinion, but this is my understanding of insulation, okay? You're almost designing these like a passive home technology. So what you want is you want this building to be sealed tight, okay? You don't want the building to breathe. It's not a person that doesn't need to breathe, okay? So you seal the building tight with spray foam. You caulk and seal all penetrations around the windows. Everything is sealed up tight, windows, doors, everything. And then you bring your fresh air in through your HVAC system, through your AC system. So that's how you get your fresh air. And now another way you can do to save some money is what we do also, is you can take closed cell foam and just shoot the connection. So where the roof connects to the wall, you just shoot that. The outside corners, just shoot that. And so basically you're just sealing all the connections to the building. Okay, you with me, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm with
You
you.
with me? Bam. Okay, make sure you're still awake.
I'm
And
awake.
so, yeah. So there's a couple ways to do it. As far as vapor barrier, you have to talk to it. I think it depends on the foam manufacturer. Okay. My foam guy, and this is what he tells me. Okay, so don't shoot me. Okay, I may have been given bad information, but my understanding is good information. The metal acts as a vapor barrier. So once you foam that metal, your metal is your vapor barrier. Okay. In a traditional stick frame house, most common now is they use that green zip sheeting that has that rubberized coating on it, and then they tape and seal all the joints on the outside. That's their vapor barrier. And then also, I understand up north where it's really cold, they have long winters. Excuse me. they use, a lot of times they'll add plastic on the inside of the home because they want to move their vapor barrier to the interior. But in the south and the southwest and stuff, and the southeast, we move the vapor barrier to the exterior of the building. So we do it a little different than you guys up in the northern climates. Up in Jersey.
Boise. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if they're building too many Barndos in Jersey.
I don't know.
I've never done a Barndo in
I've
Jersey.
been there in a few years. We have another question here. How difficult would it be, or is it possible to build a barndominium on a hillside? I think the answer is
No, that's not at all. It's no different building any other kind of house on a hillside. Hillsides are great for walkout basements, so you may consider that. You basically just dig into the hill and you just have to pour 3 sides of a basement, and then your outside, you can just run your steel all the way down to your basement floor, basement level. So you just extend that one wall all the way down. The other 3 walls sit on top of the basement wall. The other 3 steel columns, the other columns for the steel walls sit on top of your basement. So you obviously have to have your basement engineered to receive that steel building. And so no, it's just, unfortunately, it's going to be more expensive to build on a grade than it would just be flat, And also, if you got a lot of rock, you got to break that out with a big track hole or something and bust it out. But yeah, no, it's a great option for a walkout basement if you want.
Okay. Awesome. And do you recommend any attic fan to vent the heat out of the attic in the summer?
Yeah, if I would say if it's a traditional stick frame house, yes, because it's a different concept. Okay, conventional stick frame house where you have unconditioned attic space. Okay, so yes, you need to get that. Like in the summer, you need to get that hot air out. Okay, a couple of reasons. I used to do a little bit of roofing, and your shingles will cook from the heat inside the attic as well as hitting the outside, and so it shortens the life of your asphalt shingle. Okay, but no, in this, hey, I want y'all to meet somebody.
Yeah, there we go.
Lance, you're just in time to come say
Yeah,
hello.
just in time.
All right.
Let him sit down there a
Yeah.
minute, Rachel.
What are we doing over here?
We're just talking to folks and they're talking to us.
Answering some questions.
This is my trusty sidekick, Lance. I call him Sir Lancelot, or Sir Lansford.
Hello.
Hello. Lance runs all our design team. If you call in, this is most of the time who you're going to talk to.
Yep,
He hasn't been feeling well. He's been a little under the weather the last couple of days.
I have. I'm back at it though. I'm ready for your calls, for your questions.
So anyway, we're going to close it out with this one, but yeah, they were talking about insulating the attic. Should you insulate, ventilate? So no, on a steel building, you don't want to ventilate your attic. You want it all sealed up. And also, you don't want any penetrations in the roof if you can help it, other than maybe like a chimney vent. But we always, on our plans and stuff, we always put a note on there to run the plumbing out the sidewalls.
Sidewall.
Yeah. Being a commercial contractor for so many years, I chase more leaks in a metal building. Every potential penetration in a metal roof is an eventual leak, not if but when. So yeah, you just want to seal it up tight. So really, your entire envelope of your structure is heated and cooled. And one thing that, if you go, I've gone into like even traditional stick frame homes, I've gone into the attics of these homes that are spray foamed, and there's maybe 2 or 3 degrees difference in temperature from the inside of the house. It's amazing. And another thing is nice, it's totally clean. There's not, you know, in my house, I live in a traditional stick frame house, and there's about 6 inches of dirt in the attic from, you know, 30 years of dust and dirt blowing up in the attic and storms and stuff. And so you have nice and heated, you have heated and cooled attic space in this concept. So now you don't want to ventilate your attic. So that's it, brother.
That's it.
Well, thanks for hanging with us today. Rachel, my executive assistant at Greg James TV International.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. So you guys keep tuning in. We got lots of good stuff headed your way all the time. I see Sarah here just said hi. Merry Christmas, and that she hopes we do this more often.
You bet.
And we will. So anytime you guys have questions, just send them in to us.
Yeah. So anyway, bless you guys and thank you so much. And remember, God loves you, and me and Lance love you too.
That's right.
We're Jesus people, man. All the way.
All the way.
All the way. Well, thank you. Bless you, friends.
Thanks, guys.